Yeah, since a few days, um, the news came out that the Yorubas of Nigeria renamed hundreds of streets named after Igbos. People are not getting the full implications of this. The Yorubas are restructuring Nigeria. The Yorubas are making it plain, making it clear that they are tired of the marriage with Igbos and other Nigerians. So especially with Igbos, the Yorubas, I repeat, are making it very clear for everybody in the world who wants to get it that they are tired of the marriage with the Igbos. Unfortunately, the Igbos are not getting this. The Yorubas are clear that we don't care, they don't care what Nigeria thinks, whatever is in the constitution, that they are tired of the Igbo presence in their land. That's what the Yorubas are saying. And I read this morning a post by one gentleman who happens to be a friend, Tayo Obasi, about how one Carlo Kezie, he described him as the deputy leader of the lower house of assembly, that is the House of Representatives, is pursuing a bill that will integrate Nigerians. And unfortunately, this guy, if he's really pursuing such a thing, is not really living in the real world. And unfortunately, those that should have put him in the right place did not. The Great Igbo disaster that took place between 1966 and 1970 might have been averted if our people had seized on the statement made by Ahmadu Bello that we are different in Nigeria, we are different peoples. If the leaders of the Igbos then had insisted on the British structuring Nigeria to reflect the differences, but the Igbo people went the direction that this Kalu Okezie is apparently going. They thought that oil and water could mix. I know that Bello did not mean what he said. If Bello really meant it, Bello wouldn't have fought to retain power at the center. But if the Igbos had understood what I am saying now, what the Yorubas are saying now, they would have said, well, Bello, you said the truth. Work with us to convince the British to create at most a federal Nigeria, a federalist Nigeria, or a confederation. But as far as I know, the people at the leadership of the Igbos then, we are working for a centralized state. That is what Kalu Okezie is calling for. If what Tai Nwokike said, he said, is what he's doing. Why the Yorubas are in the right place? By renaming districts that are telling the Igbos, Lagos and other parts of Yorubaland is for Yorubas. Igbo land is for you. And the earlier the Igbos take a cue, the earlier the Igbos listen to this wise counsel, the better, because this call by the Yorubas for the Igbos to leave their land will only get louder and louder. And if the Igbos have tied down 99% of their wealth in Lagos, they will only be in more trouble when they tie down 100% of their wealth. The time to go is now. That is the way to run away from problems. That is the way to avoid problems. There are entities that have to live separately. General Marshal Tito of the former Yugoslavia thought he could weld the very similar Croats, Serbs, Croatians, Muslims. He thought he could weld them together. They spoke the same language, but what happened? A few decades after his death, everything unraveled because they had religious divisions. They had religious divisions. It didn't work. The Tutsi and Hutu speak different languages. I mean, they speak the same language. The Hutu and the Tutsi, they speak the same language. We hope that Kagame's experiment will outlast him. But in the case of Nigeria, according to Dan Jacobs, who looked at the history and culture of Nigeria in 1968, he said that the differences between the Igbo, the Yoruba, and the Hausa Fulani are exactly like the differences between the Israelis, the Hungarians, and the Saudis, presenting the Igbos as the Israelis, the Yoruba as the Hungarians, the Hausa Fulani as the Saudis. I don't know how else to say it than to do my bit, and I'm doing my bit by telling the Igbos what the Yorubas are saying is Yorubaland for Yorubas. Yorubas will ensure that the provisions of the Land Use Act are followed. If not before the lapse of 99 years, Yorubas will tell Igbos to leave their land. And as far as I'm concerned, if it is done peacefully, if it will engender peace, if it will make sure that no people fight, that no two peoples or three peoples fight, better. The wars that have been fought in Nigeria cost my family a lot. If other Igbos have forgotten that they lost 3 million, I have not forgotten the uncles that died painfully. I have not forgotten those infants that starved to death. Anything that will be done to ensure that violence does not break out in Nigeria should be done. And if one of those things that should be done is for the Igbos to leave Yorubaland, I welcome that. I am Igbo, I'm not Yoruba. I will be one of those who will lose or who have already lost. But anything that will avert bloodshed should be welcome. Have a great week.